The bad news is, we don't know. No. It's like, good. But you feel your, so. But again, it's like. Right.
And was that recent or did
Oh,
they?
where's my video?
So, but it's like the Mayo Clinic is just unbelievable, like, I was. Happy to walk out that was. Pretty amazing. I wish that. We call this meeting the original.
Well, can you vote on this? Hold on.
No, we gotta start an open.
I'm sorry.
We
No, we haven't made the motion yet.
gotta make a motion. to go.
Thank you. I don't have video, so if you can just make an announcement. It seems the video is not working now. It probably needs to be reset. I don't have the capabilities.
We call this meeting the Charlotte Town Council to order. Today is Tuesday, 2023. 6:45 p.m. For those of you watching from home tonight, I'll make this announcement more than once. Our video link is not functioning correctly tonight, so we'll have to listen to our sweet voices. Sven, would you make a motion to go into closed session? So moved. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Closed session.
We're just went into closed session.
Closed session. Just gonna take 15 minutes.
Was the case.
I just did it really well.
Hoping that it populates now. No, it's not there. Well, it needs to be the AV Bridge. It's not there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try, I don't know what he's gonna be able to, how he's gonna be able to come.
I didn't know what it was. I know.
You never heard of the same?
Folks,
That probably
I'm not really going.
So I'm gonna ask you guys to just try we're gonna try using the mic on the computer and, yeah, sure. We're gonna try using the mic on the computer.
You sit up on my right side.
Nice.
And my things.
Happens many times, fortunately, we never will. Would you guys stop for me pretty loud? It's working.
Test
Hello,
1, 2, 3.
test 1, 2. Can you hear me? How's that? Is that good?
Yeah. Thank you.
What's that? I know, yeah, she needed to assess. Right?
Pardon?
You're.
I'm yesing.
I'll be back.
We're back as well as we can be. Unfortunately, it's not perfect.
We call this meeting to order, we've had a closed session, I would, ask for a motion to seal the minutes. So move. Second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. There were no votes taken, in closed session. I would, accept a motion to open the Board of License Commissioners meeting.
So move.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. We're now in a convened as the Board of License Commissioners to discuss and act on an application for 6 F1 liquor licenses for Persephone's Kitchen on September 6th, September 7th, September 14th, September 21st, and September 28th at 235 Dodge Street, Plat 6, Lot 32. For those of you keeping score at home, this is Dodge Street Night Market. This is the third set, right? 1, 2, 3. We've done 3 sets of licenses. I have heard nothing but nothing negative about this. Does anybody have any questions? I'm actually glad you're going to do it through September. Then I would make a motion to approve 6 F1 liquor licenses for for 4 F1 liquor licenses for Persephone's Kitchen on the 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th of September 2023.
235 Dodge Street, plat 6, lot 132.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Can I have a motion to adjourn the Board of Liquor License Commissioners agenda
So moved.
or Board of License Commissioners meeting? Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Now we are reconvened as the town council. On to item number 3, public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? No.
Can I just say one thing?
Please.
So the run around the block is happening this weekend on the 9th. If anyone here wants to register, you can register for the road race at itsyourrace.com. And so driving on Saturday, the race route pretty much follows the old route around the west side twice. The new part of the route will, when the runners come up Center Road, they're going to take a left and go across Beach Avenue. And at the end of Beach Avenue, they're going to take a left onto Corneck Road. Last year, we found that was sort of the trickiest part of the whole race because the runners are crossing traffic. So just so anybody driving around on Saturday, the race starts at 1:30, so it's an afternoon race. Just, be mindful
Cool.
of the runners. Thanks.
And if you want to volunteer to help.
And if you want to volunteer to help, you can let me or Gail Ballard know.
Wonderful. Thank you. We have a consent agenda tonight, minutes, deferral of Jeff Ernst taxi license. Some correspondence to acknowledge. I just had one question, Millie. Item C is an addendum to Learn 365, and it's, I just want to make sure that your sense is that it's okay for us to do that and that we don't have to actually pass that.
Right.
It's okay.
I don't see why not.
Okay. That's fine with me. I just wanted to make sure you were comfortable that it was,
So I had questions about that also.
yes.
Because, so we're approving it. Are we then following through on any of that, or are we ensuring that people follow through on it?
Yes, in fact, the superintendent has put in
Okay.
an application.
Yeah, we put in a grant, the grant was
Yes.
awarded.
Yes.
And superintendent's following through on
Yeah,
that.
we got
Terrific. Thank you.
$80,000 or something, or
50,000.
50,000. A motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Item 5 is a public hearing to discuss and act on the proposed amendment to parking ordinances, chapter 18, traffic and motor vehicles. Article 3, stopping, standing and parking. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor of opening the public hearing indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. We're now in public hearing. Who's going to walk us through this ordinance?
So this is, as you remember, Neil spent a lot of time looking at different parking issues through the town, and we clarified a lot of language as it relates to what was in the ordinance. And now we're into what I'm calling phase 2 of it, which also gets into other parking areas that we need to address. I think we'll probably see a phase 4 and maybe phase 5 as we continue to go through this, but we're really making
sense.
some significant headway for clarification. This ordinance mainly focuses on 3 or 4 different areas, specifically where there was, like the previous time, some confusion and not clear as to what the ordinance really was. So what we did was, like it said, no overnight parking, I think it said, at Ball O'Brien. So we defined what we meant by overnight. What I think is overnight and what someone else may think is 2 different things.
All right.
So we define the time this should be from 6, wait a minute. Parking is only permitted at Ball O'Brien from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So from 11:01 to 5:59, there's no parking. And we did that based on when we thought folks would be allowed in the park. We thought by 11 o'clock at night, people should be out of there. It's a little later, but we thought during the summer months with the kids and everything else playing basketball. And then at 6 a.m., we figured that's late enough when people are starting to rise and it's not too early in the morning. The other two sections, as it talks about Beach Avenue and then Cornet, this is mainly, again, cleaning up some language that we previous had. On the second page is where you see what I would call a major, not a major change, but again, a clarification. What it talked about on Ocean Avenue, as you know, if you see any of the parking signs or the parking restrictions on Ocean Avenue, they specifically say cannot park for 24 hours, more than 24 hours. So how the police were enforcing that, they would go and take videos and then go back again the next time at the same time to see if people are parking there. So I think what we're really trying to do there is, again, address the overnight parking. So what we did the same thing. We put a specific time, and the time is 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. So it's about 4 hours there. And as Neil and I talked through this, we came up with the 1 a.m. mainly because you do have some restaurants and establishments in that area. So we thought by 1 a.m., hopefully it'll all be cleared out. And we went with 5 a.m. because we know folks like to park there and go fishing. So we figured 5 a.m. people like to be out by 5 a.m. So it's about a 4-hour span that will have no parking on Ocean Ave. And some places it's on both sides. There's some specific areas where there will be allowable parking. And that's why you see the specific points in here. It's probably no different than what's currently there when it talks about for a 24-hour period. This just clarifies and sets a timeline so people know from 1 a.m. in the morning to 5 a.m. we should see no parking.
And in these situations, we're gonna change signage.
We will once adopted, yeah.
So I have a little question about the Ball O'Brien Park one.
Mhm.
Because I think, I could be wrong about this, but doesn't the park closes at dusk? Is that? I feel like, would you know this, Mike?
It might say on the rules and regulations.
I mean, I know dusk changes, but it's not at 11 at any point in time. But anyway,
My assumption is that this was not to eliminate evening parking, but to eliminate overnight, basically camping parking, right? I'm pretty sure. But I mean, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think Molly was going with, technically, the park's closed
Yeah.
at dusk, so there shouldn't be people parking there anyway.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna
Right.
quibble over it. I
Yeah.
just feel
Yeah.
like it's a little discrepancy, but it's
Yeah.
not a big one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just appreciate the work that's gone into this.
Can I ask one?
Yeah.
Just gotta make sure here. So on Spring Street, I do know that just from experience, there's 1 or 2 homeowners that park right in front of their house, sort of across from the farm. On the other side of the white line, so it's not inside the white line, it's on the other side of the white line. This would say they can't park on Spring Street. I'm down to you know where I am, right? Yeah. On both sides of Spring Street, from Fountain Square to Spring House. There's no parking, right? Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's,
They're
go
on-
up there, there's.
It's literally right in front of
There's
their
how
house.
much space,
Yeah.
that's the line.
Yeah.
So,
It's in front of their house.
So if they're choosing to park on their property, it wouldn't really apply, would it?
Well, that's sort of my question, because this says you can't park on Spring Street anywhere.
Spring Street and private property are two different things. So if they're parking on their private property,
They're parking on
That's not
their own
Spring
grass, they can do that.
So between Fountains, sorry, that would be a question. Between Fountain Square and the Spring House, it's all private property between. So if you're on
on one side, it's complete sidewalk. So that's pretty clear,
on the west side,
correct?
and on the east side, it's, well, that's not true, sewer plant's there. So other than the sewer plant, it's all private property, so if. Okay, so they're able to park on their private property along Spring Street,
not blocking the street.
as long as they're on the other side of the white line. Thank you.
I mean, I think if somebody else chose to park on their property, then that's a different matter, but
That's a different
Not-
personal matter.
right, exactly.
Thank you, Neil. Marianne, Chief. Really appreciate your work. Yes.
So one of the comments that, because we're gonna be talking about projects and fall projects later. And you laugh a little bit, maybe fourth change or fifth change. Actually doing them in small bites and thinking about those projects for this fall, tackling things in small pieces rather than trying to get the whole Manila. May be a pretty good strategy, because we get things done. We get things done. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve this ordinance? Do I have to close the public hearing first? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Okay.
Opposed, no. We're now in the meeting. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance change?
So moved. Go. Here's your paper. Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We have some new parking rules. Fantastic. Next item is to discuss and act on resolutions or proclamations expressing the town's gratitude for the extraordinary responses to the Harborside fire. Our arms have just fallen off pre-signing these. Look, as I was saying earlier, I know that the Block Island Volunteer Fire Department has and will continue to do a lot to express their thanks to the mutual aid departments. I know that Marianne has sent letters to her colleagues in the towns who participated in that extraordinary mutual aid effort. And tonight we're doing resolutions from the town council, which will be forwarded to them. In addition, we drafted 2 letters, one to Interstate and one to New England Airlines, because they were both so important and critical to this effort. And can we simply move the resolutions? But
And then we can get to other things on the side over. Right?
I think you were talking about the item after this.
Okay. No,
You wanted to talk about September 17th?
right, for the funding. I want to make sure.
That's the next agenda item.
Okay. Beautiful, sorry.
I apologize.
Would someone make a motion to approve the resolutions and the letters, please?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. Sven? I don't know. I didn't have that in the resolution, but
It should routine.
great.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mel.
They've been asked to send it to their network of all of their South County patients, and they cover most of these towns.
And Millie, can you also check clerk base tomorrow? I'm looking at it and they don't come up. So it says blank on clerk base.
And when you scroll all the way down,
I'm
because it did it for me earlier.
all right now, I'm clicking on it multiple times. It just says this site can't be reached. So I just want to make sure that people see it if they want. Sorry. Well put, David, nicely. I'll speak into the microphone. On clerk base, if you click onto it, it comes up blank. So just to make sure it's loaded in clerk base so you can see it. Oh, well.
Are you talking about the
Proclamation, yes.
So one of the things, thank you. One of the things I observed with Clark Base is that frequently come up with a blank page because it's been expanded so large, all the text is off to the side. So if you just collapse the page, you'll find everything you want to see, all 31 pages and resolutions, just by way of an example. So, with regard to the 2 letters to Interstate and New England Airlines, will they be made available to the public as well?
They were on clerk base this afternoon. I saw them on clerk base this afternoon, I think.
I can check.
Under the same item or a different? They're not there yet.
They were there this afternoon. I saw them.
I have a vendor that I use.
Oh.
That I send things to. I actually done that with that different site. Maybe you accidentally overwrote the letters of the resolution, but I can follow up with that.
Please do, because I just refreshed just before the meeting.
Fine.
Sorry, I apologize. On item number 7, as many people may know or have heard about, a celebration for the island is being held on September 17th. It's most coordinated by Kirk Littlefield, Rita Draper, Kimberly, a number of folks. And the goal is to celebrate all of the first responders that came to the island's rescue and support, and also the citizens for the island to come and participate. The plan is that at 12 o'clock on the 17th, there's going to be a large tent and an event behind the Manatees. It's going to be catered by Kimberly, who also has the restaurant there. And the Interstate has offered to do a very discounted group rate for all the first responders. There are about 100 of them, I believe, and their families. The concept is that Interstate workers, New England Airline workers, other workers that participated in the event, including all of the island folks, would be invited to this event at 12. And it's really to celebrate and thank those first responders. At about 1:30, the event will then be open to anybody that wants to buy a ticket. And the ticket is truly a donation to the fire department and in support of the fire department. As many of us know, these are big events, right? When you suddenly have 200 people, you've got a number of folks. These are major events. And I would like the town council, and I've talked to Amy Land, I've talked to Mary Ann about it. I would like to have the town council authorize Amy to spend up to $10,000 in support of this celebration event, in support of the Harborside Fire and all the first responders that came, and have their families come and thank them personally. And the hope would be that, or the plan would be that Keith will make a brief presentation there just to thank everybody personally. But I think it's critical that we as the town participate and support this. So I'd like to make a motion after discussion that we spend up to $10,000 of town funds to support the event. Those funds will go to food, to ferry tickets for all those first responder families, and potentially, if there's enough money, to compensate for some of the workers in the kitchen staff who just need to get paid, and they're going to be working, but most of the staff are donating their time, Kimberly, Norm, etc. Questions?
Was that made as a motion?
I
Is there a
guess it
second?
was a motion.
Yep. Is there a second? Okay, discussion?
Do we have funding for it? When I talked to Amy, Amy's online. When I talked to Amy, she said there was funding could be made available for it should we vote. Is that fair, Amy?
Yeah, just to clarify, that would be an item that would be taken from contingency, which is there at the council's discretion.
Amy, you there?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Good enough for me.
Can you hear now?
That's it's fine. No,
That's not needed because of the
Echo.
feedback.
no feedback.
Okay.
That's fine. That's
She'll
fine.
give a thumbs up.
Molly, I see your green light on.
I'm sorry.
Do you have any question?
No.
No? Martha? Neil?
Well, I did. My question is sort of the same as Neil's. Like, is do we have funding for this? Do we have discretionary ability to just to do this?
Mary Ann?
We have a contingency fund, so I see that's where we could possibly take this from is our contingency fund. If you remember last year, we did increase that. I think it was 65,000, if I'm not mistaken, is what we ended up on, maybe 75. I don't have the budget in front of me, but yes, we do. As Amy said, we'll make funds available. So Amy just confirmed what I just said. It's coming from the contingency fund. And we haven't talked, Amy and I haven't talked about this yet. So the good news is we independently came to the same thing.
It's always good when you agree. Is there any further discussion? Thank you for your work on this, everybody. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. No, don't be silly. Item 8. I'm gonna make a suggestion because we have someone from the Small Business Administration here who has been sitting here since before our meeting. Can we just flip flop 8 and 9? So that you can come up. Sorry for burdening you with yes. Oh, can I make a motion to flip flop 8 and 9, please?
so moved in second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are hereby flip flop.
And if I can ask permission.
Can you do me a favor and make sure that you push the button so that the green light is on? And speak into the microphone and give your name and where you're from, and then on we go,
Sure.
please.
So it's green, so is it on?
Yeah, you'll see it, it'll light up.
Good evening. My name's Anita Steenson, and I'm from the U.S. Small Business
Welcome, Anita.
Administration. Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. And so I do have a question. Would it be permissible for one of the staff to take a photo of me presenting information to you? We have a lot of folks in our office that support us being out here, and they use these photos to encourage them.
I think we should ask Neil to come and stand next to you.
Thank you.
I'll take the picture.
No, we want you in the, no, we want you in the.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. They,
You're too
It was my
and later I'd like to photos with all of you. Thank you. So the reason I took a moment to talk about the Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience is because we're a different division of the SBA. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about your Rhode Island District Director, Mark Hayward. He's going to be here on the island tomorrow. First, I need to tell you that I am a very junior, small person in this massive organization. And that's important for you to know because I can only tell you, what I've seen. And that is when we come to one of these disasters. And so what our team does as part of the Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience, whenever there's a disaster declared, we're part of a surge team that comes to an area to supplement our regular SBA. And we do offer different sorts of SBA loans and recovery resources of different and above and beyond what the regular SBA loans are that people are familiar with.
So Anita, were the delightful people who were here all week last week from your part of the operation?
They are. That's our amazing customer service.
They were extraordinary.
They are
really
amazing.
terrific.
They are the best part
Yeah.
of SBA. They truly are.
Yeah.
And the reason I want to tell you that is we have two offices called Field Office East and Field Office West. And field office east handles everything east of the Mississippi, and field office west, everything west of the Mississippi. So we respond to every kind of disaster, natural or man-made, that you could imagine. So we see a lot of things and a lot of people, and the people that you meet here, especially our customer service reps, nothing, we are mission driven in that nothing makes us more satisfied and fulfilled than to help people in need. Most of us have been through 1, 2, if not multiple disasters of one kind or another. And this inspires us on an incredibly personal level. So when this island suffered that disaster of that hotel fire, your state of Rhode Island district director came here himself on Saturday, and he got the paperwork taken care of. And I want you to know that because there are still disasters of magnitudes affecting millions of people that are still in the pipeline.
Yeah.
From June and July.
Wow. Well, it was very clear to us how responsive SBA was, how wonderful.
Let me
yeah.
interrupt you. This is your SBA State District Director and your governor. And I just want to be really clear about that, because I'll go and our team will go wherever we're sent, and we're thrilled to help one person, 2 people, 10 people, 1 million people. So that's why I wanted to make that distinction. You know, we go where we're sent, and we're thrilled to be here, wherever. So I just want to be very clear about that you have advocates and representatives that are truly remarkable and amazing. And I thought about talking to you all privately about that, but I think this warrants a public comment.
Indeed.
Because I can't even tell you what is being currently staffed by FOC East right now. And we are thrilled to be here. You know, please understand that, but you really do have amazing advocates. So
Thank you.
I want to make that comment. So what can I tell you about this specific disaster and declaration that we're here on assisting the residents here in Rhode Island, especially Block Island, where really there's a large need that we're just really worried that people are not recognizing the need. That's my big concern. So how can we help to get that message out?
So I have a question. Business owners lots of business owners are affected by loss of business, you know, loss of income.
Yes.
Related to fire and the street closure, and that's going to continue with the building coming down. So I know that you guys are set up here at Town Hall, and that the businesses can come to you. Are you also going out to the businesses at their location, like to the locations around downtown?
So let me be clear. Any business that is disrupted for any reason is eligible to apply. And we have 3 ways you can apply. They can come here, they can apply online, or they can call our customer service number and request a paper application. And it's not just businesses on Block Island, it's all of Washington County, Newport, Kent, and New London, Connecticut. And the idea is, we have seen in our disaster work that there's a domino effect. So what I mean by that is, you know, you don't have to have a physical damage, and you don't have to have a direct cause and effect. And the disruption to your business can manifest itself anytime through to May 28th, 2024. It can have started on the day of the fire, or it cannot even have started yet.
Okay,
So, and that's a little kind of wonky to get your head wrapped around. So please ask me questions.
so in speaking to one business owner, their concern was that this is all loans, and this person feels like that they can't take any more loans right now. Do these loans impact other loans? I mean, is this, so taking a, I guess I'm not really phrasing, I don't really want to give away who I'm talking about, but, so the loans through the SBA.
Right.
Would that, keep this person from being able to apply for other loans, like to purchase a house or to purchase, something else that they're in the middle of?
Okay, so I understand what you're asking me. So it does factor into your loan to debt ratio.
Okay,
So what I would say is you have until May 28th, 2024 to make an application. So if they're in the middle of something, they should, proceed with that, because it's a much, there's no stringent criteria. We don't have hard and fast credit scores for the disaster loans. We definitely try and make it easier. We don't have loan to debt ratios, which most loans do that. We don't do that in disaster loans. The big important point is payback ability. So if we look at your bills and look at your income, can you pay that back? I'm sure you've all experienced, I want to refinance my loan from 8% to 5%. And they say, oh no, your loan to debt ratio. I'm going from a higher interest rate to a lower interest rate. If I pay it at 8%, I can pay it at 5%. No, your loan, we don't do that like traditional banks do. So it's a very easy process
okay.
to apply for a
And-
disaster loan.
And so if a business were to apply now, knowing that they've lost business because of the fire, excuse me, does the loan remain open? Or do they have to reapply if, let's say the demolition of the building and reconstruction of the building prevents people from accessing their businesses?
Their
do they-
losses increase
Okay,
over time, right? That's
right.
so you can request an increase as you see your loss increase. And it's not reapplying or reopening. You basically pick up the phone and say, this is worsening. They may ask you for an updated profit and loss statement, or
Mhm.
maybe a bank statement or something. And you submit that and they will increase your loan. And let me point out that there's no payments the first year, and interest does not accrue the first year. But again, if in looking at your example, somebody is trying to secure a financing for something else, this would complicate their other financing. Because
Okay.
this would, even though they weren't paying it back or there wouldn't be any interest. So just to be cautious about that.
Right.
But this is 4% fixed for up to 30 years.
Thank you.
For nonprofits, it's 2.375. Again, fixed for up to 30 years. There, and it's up to $2 million a business. And the easiest thing for me to do is tell you what you can't use the money for. And that is to pay dividends to shareholders, or to expand your business, like open another branch or location. But pretty much you can use the money to pay bills, buy equipment, working capital, pay salaries, so on and so forth. So you're not obligated to take the loan once you apply for it. There's no cost. The paperwork is streamlined. You basically are giving them your last year's tax returns so they can compare the window, day of the fire to May against last year's. That's the extent of what you need to submit. So,
Great.
yeah, what can we do to maybe expose other businesses, or let people know that this is available? And it's the biggest question people have is how do we, not people so much here on the island, like, but everybody wants to know, how do we prove it's connected to the fire? And you really don't. You don't have to show us documentation other than, like I said, that profit and loss, or what can we do for you guys?
Great.
4%, 30 years, pretty attractive to.
Yeah, you can deduct that too, right? It's a business.
So the on-site ends the 13th of September, but can businesses still apply, I'm assuming, after that? Or
You
is
can
it,
apply up to May 28th.
sorry, I missed that.
2024, yeah. I mean, we encourage everybody to do it sooner rather than later. If you have an issue, if something comes back that the document wrong, or maybe there's a credit score issue, we can get you to our resource partner, the SBDC, or somebody to assist you with getting fixed. If you need a different kind of loan because you want to expand, we can maybe get you to a regular SBA loan or something like that.
And you, excuse me, you're here in person until the 17th,
Till the 13th.
till the 13th. Okay.
If
And
we,
after that, people could apply online.
people can apply online now as well. I have that information. It's disasterloanassistance.sba.gov/ILA, electronic loan application. They're pretty easy. It's basically drop down menus, check the box.
I would say, just to answer your question earlier, what can you do to inform businesses? If there is a chance to take a walk through the businesses that are open, especially this week. Up until today, everybody was full out for the weekend. You said that to me earlier. But if you can, just make sure that everybody is aware, they get the cheat sheet, it couldn't hurt. It would be great. At least that's Block Island.
Oh, sure,
I
yeah.
can't help you in New London. That's
No.
Connecticut. That's a different world.
We're available to do webinars even after we
Great.
leave, if anybody finds that helpful. Sometimes people get bored with that, or whatever you guys think will be helpful, or that maybe we can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask.
My sense is between town government and the chamber and others, there's been very active contact made.
Great.
The turnout has been terrific from businesses, affected businesses, but also from the various agencies. It's really been
The
really
town has
has been
been
wonderful.
amazing, the town.
So thank you.
Thank you.
No, it's our pleasure.
Thank you.
We thanks to Mark and Jessica.
Any other questions for Anita? Thank you so much.
Great.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
All right then. Discuss an act to prioritize and assign fall winter goals. Traffic and transportation. I think we captured all of them that a couple of you sent notes afterward. If we missed something, it was not an error of commission, as I say. Just missed it. Traffic and transportation, property tax classification, affordable housing, parking, zoning ordinance review, licensing review, new harbor plan, trash disposal rate structure, revenue opportunities, inventorying town properties, and a visitor center plan. If I could just lead off, in terms of timeliness related to our own town business, the property tax classification piece is really sort of I don't know whether urgent's the word, but we've got to have that conversation as a community this fall. So that, Mary Ann and Amy and we on the council and then the town, as the budget gets put together, understand what the new system is going to be to the extent that we decide that there is one. So one of the things we decided at our last meeting was to ask Mary Ann and Amy at our upcoming September meeting to walk us through what other municipalities who have this authority, sort of how they're using it, how they have reshaped their local property tax codes. And it varies. It's not, some of them are not just straight commercial residential. Some of them are quite nuanced, and I would think it likely that we might want to be more nuanced than that. So anyway, just to take that off. I do think, generally speaking, I think one of us should be involved. One or two of us should be involved in that. Were you asking a question, Jennifer? I don't know why. I just feel it must have been a flash in my eye. I thought you had raised your hand. You're welcome. I know I've been working on that one, and Sven has for a few years. So if people are okay, I think I don't know if you're willing, but
I could ask for clarification.
sure.
Okay, I think the list is too long.
Yep.
And I think some of these things are things that we just need to hand off to other people.
Yep.
And that's really important because we clearly can't do this all. And we're not the experts. The question I have is where are we going to, I'm not comfortable with these committees that have council people on them, and I'm not sure where open meeting issues come to play. Is Nick still around? Or do we drop him off early on?
Nope, I'm still around.
May not be able to speak to us, you can text.
Oh, okay, well, no, we have, no, we need a conversation, that we can't do this by text. But I think that's really important to get that clarified. We have, I mean, aren't there some of these things?
So wait, just so I want to re-articulate what I think I'm hearing, because I think it is warranted so we don't go down the wrong path on it. You're basically saying as we get into these committees that has a town council member and a group of people, that we don't run amok on the open meetings.
Right. And
So getting clear definition from Nick on how many people, how many town councilors makes it require an open meetings rule.
Yeah.
So we, Miriam, could just put that on for Nick to clarify.
I'll let go for now.
So Martha thinks the list is too long, and I'm seeing that it's missing the short-term rental.
Yes, I noticed that. Yes, I noticed
I
that.
want to make it long.
Sorry about that.
Well, I guess there's some things that aren't, I mean, we're not doing zoning ordinance review. The zoning ordinance review belongs with the planning board. The last time that was really seriously done, if other people, I may be the only one who thinks it merits review. That was a major project that involved budgetary issues, budgetary impact.
I think that's why we're having this meeting to establish that, for
Well,
example.
But that would be for next year's budget,
Right,
because that's probably not something we can do this year.
that's exactly why it's on here. We're gonna have to figure out how we're going to accomplish these things. That's all.
Okay,
Quick question is on licensing, only because I remember the discussion. I think of revenue sources, which, you know, is somewhat near and dear to my heart. Is that somewhat related to licensing or? what?
I think it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
also our fees, so our, you know, just a
Yes.
review of that kind of thing. Okay, good. I just want to make sure
And-
that was a similar bucket.
And at our last meeting, Millie agreed that we always have this conversation around where do we have headroom on any of the fee, you know, the
Yeah.
licenses. So many of them are established in statute that
Can't do much.
that Millie was gonna put that together for us.
Yeah, I can send out, I have a living spreadsheet regarding that. I can send that out to you.
Thank you.
I'm just saying, those are two things on the sheet that are, I think, linked. If I think about the town and I go through all of these, they're all important. Some of them I think can be tackled in pieces, to my earlier comment about smaller projects. And I'm gonna say this, I hope the right way, because I think the visitor center is something that we as a community need to improve. Whether that's the facilities director represents the town. Obviously, the chamber's involved in that discussion, the tourism council involved in that discussion. Therefore, Marianne can't be involved in it. So if a council member should be on that, I'm very happy to do that because you can't be on it. But I think that's one that, as I think about the town, I think about welcoming people to the island, we really should do something to improve the welcoming. So that to me is really high. I just don't know, we need a council member on it. But it's a big project.
Well,
I'm very happy.
in my opinion, there has to be a council member
Then
on that
I'll put my
one
name on it.
because you know, there has been ongoing frustration all around. It is a nut that needs to be cracked. Because I think if there's consensus about anything, it's that the existing infrastructure is inadequate, both in terms of actual daily use and in terms of the message that it sends.
And facilities.
Yeah, that's, and exactly. So those are going to end up being policy decisions.
I'd love to put my name on that unless somebody else wants it.
And I think also we're looking at more than one thing there, right? We're looking at the physicality of the building, but also the structure of who,
Chamber, council, yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Ooh,
who runs the visitor center, who pays for the running of the visitor center.
Yep,
yeah,
yes,
I agree.
So-
I mean, I think it's the whole thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
I could,
Yeah.
my head's open for like all potential structures, and I think that's a good way to be. From having a town person who's in charge, who's our visitor center director, all the way there, whatever. But I think to your point, Molly, there's, you know, what I think to everybody is the obvious physical infrastructure issues. I mean, it's pretty gnarly down there. It seems like, even though people are trying.
decades.
Well, and, you know, I think it needs to be pointed out, not that I want to get into this conversation now, but we tend to throw around that number. It's like, oh, 20,000 people a day
I
come.
know.
And, you know, Nina Stack recently pointed out to me that when Nina was the head of the Tourism Council in 1999, she paid for the study that said that 20,000 people a day came, and it was a very involved study. 1999, like, think of how many ferries we've added since then, right? How many more flights come in here? How many more boats come in here? Like, we're ridiculous. Every time we say 20,000 people are here per day, we're saying something ridiculous. And so that is also something that needs to be a component to this. Like, before we go and build bathrooms for 20,000 people, like, we should know what our number is. That's all.
I'm really glad that you raised that, because in my notes about this whole thing, are around whether people are up for really having that capacity conversation and putting some data around that. Because I think, we were talking about this the other night at that whatever it was, community meeting. So much of what we talk about, in fact, nearly everything we talk about as a hot issue, somehow comes back to what is our capacity? And traffic congestion, parking, mopeds, bicycles, number of ferries, and the interesting thing someone said to me recently is, we all know it, but we have a hard time putting numbers to it, and if we want to come up with sort of rational set of policies around it, we got to have some data to go along with it. Now, I think to do it well, that it should have a planning function. It should have a community consensus function. There's a whole bunch of pieces of this thing. The question is, are we up for that? Because it could be a long-term, it's going to take, the community to engage in it. It's going to take retaining of some experts, to sort of, I'm not even sure I know exactly what my definition of capacity is, to be honest with you. Sort of like, I know it looks pretty darn crowded. Or, I know it seems like we have a lot of ferries line. So to me, that is, that if people are up for that conversation, I happen to think it's probably the most important conversation.
It very much depends. As you all know, I talked to a lot of a lot of visitors during the summer, and it very much depends where you come from. So I've had New Yorkers tell me these are the best beaches. You're not going to find a beach anywhere has this much space. And somebody who lives here is like, oh my God, the world is over because I don't have a quarter of an acre of sand for myself. And somewhere in between there's got to be reality.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think we're anywhere near that. Obviously we all know the visitor center is a whole big other thing. The other one thing I do want to say, it's not on this list, but it is related to it, that what's been happening with traffic this, in a sense, since the fire has been pretty interesting downtown. That after the first few days, but by Thursday morning, when everything opened up again, it felt like we were almost getting used to it. There were a couple of pretty funny days when the traffic was coming up from interstate by Finn's and coming up by through the taxi lot and turning south, all converging on Rebecca, where nobody knows what they're doing anyway. And it was pretty bizarre, but it goes away. It doesn't last long at all. And a lot of people have said to me, they think that closing Chapel Street, which we ultimately threw up our hands on this year, closing the entrance to Chapel Street was really good. Somebody else said they didn't even know the stop sign, the no left turn sign was there. It is when they're so high. And I think, is that state reg how high the signs have to be? I think somebody told me that once. Mike, do you know? Like the stop sign is on the sidewalk. Exactly. Thank you. No, that's what I thought it was. Don't laugh. I've seen that happen. They had one summer, somebody broke off the stop sign in front of Malcolm's and to get it back, immediately, I guess, bolted it to the piece that was left on the ground. And I keep telling the story. When I tell the story, I said, somebody walked into it, and I'm not sure it wasn't me, but I know, I've seen it happen, either seen it or felt it, or both. But it's just an interesting thing, what happens when things have to change and if you are going down Weldon's Way, then
I just
there's a
wanna
lot of
make sure I
stuff
heard
that can't
what you
happen.
said.
It's what
I-
applies.
I want to make sure I heard Martha say that she liked the idea of closing Chapel Street between Weldon's Way and Water. Everybody else heard that too, right?
Oh, no, I say like, I thought it was interesting,
It is,
interesting what
it
happened.
is, it is interesting. I mean, the part of that I have to say is we took a walk down Water Street when it was closed at about 8 o'clock at night. And I was kind of like, maybe we should do some vehicle-free nights or something, because it was really, you could see potential there
I
of a
think
quiet street.
the thing that they changed that I've always had a mental block on is coming up out of the landing and turning
Yes.
south.
Yes.
And that I just couldn't get my head
Mhm,
around that
mhm,
concept.
mhm.
And the trucks, I watched the big trucks, those are lumber trucks in River Bend, is it Riverhead? They didn't stop coming.
Mhm.
They didn't stop going around Rebecca and getting where they were supposed to go.
Right.
And when these guys can drive, these people can, these
Yes.
personnel can drive those trucks. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
We just can't.
We can't fathom it.
Yeah.
If I could, I just want to add, I did have a really good conversation with someone on the Old Harbor Task Force in the last week. And she had some great ideas. When we talk about the visitor center, she was talking about the park, or like the park area, that would be the property that the town bought back, I think, Kim, you might have been on the council then, but the property across from the National and the
Yep.
Old Book Nook building. So when we talk about the visitor center, we're talking about more than just like the physical visitor center, right? Like, we're talking about that park. So if we do get into that kind of a discussion, Old Harbor Task Force, I think should be involved.
Great. So I'd like to reserve sometime in September, early October, some time at one of our meetings to talk about this capacity thing. If we could all just do a little research on it, I think that would be very much worth doing. I'm sure we're not, I know, in fact, that we're not the only ones who have tried to tackle this. But I do think so many of our day-to-day challenges arise from not really knowing what our capacity is. That's, my opinion. And that, that sort of subsumes some of our traffic and transportation, though one of the conversations we will want to have is about how we move people off of Water Street in the summertime. I don't think that needs to be put off. Property tax classification, we talked about affordable housing. I would expect that there will be a new draft of an ordinance regarding accessory dwelling units presented to planning at some time in the very near future. And we're continuing to work with Cindy and the Affordable Housing Board on the large project on the west side. Parking, as Neil and Marianne said, is ongoing. For zoning ordinance review, Marianne, if you wouldn't, can we ask you to talk to Karen about her take on how big a job that is and what an appropriate budget would be for that?
Yeah, I've already started some preliminary
Great.
conversation with her. Yeah.
I figured you had. Licensing review, Millie has kindly offered to offer her large spreadsheet, which, I think ties in with the revenue opportunity piece. New Harbor plan to me.
So can I just make a comment on the licensing review? It's more than just charging for the license. there's
What we
things to
license.
attach to getting a license that
Yes.
potentially have income for Block Island. So-
Right, right. Yeah, I do view it more broadly than that. I was just thinking it would be helpful to kind of in one document have a sense of what we license and what the elements are to that, because I gotta be honest with you, I mean, I've only been doing this for, I think I've done 3 rounds of sort of the license thing, and I don't know it well. I just,
Yeah, I just know years and years ago, the council decided, oh, they were gonna increase all these licenses and basically all of them controlled by the state. Or there's a ceiling on them, I should say. Well, I think what Millie's got is the parameters, what we have, what we can do. That's what you should come down. I mean, I think everybody comes to this table and says, oh, we don't license enough. Oh, we don't charge enough for licenses. Oh, let's charge $10,000 for, what do we charge for liquor licenses now?
2,000.
Let's charge $20,000 for a liquor license. And oh, wait, the state law says, and that's happens.
Yeah, but
yeah.
so I think there's creative things that can be looked at. So
I think you
And-
need the baseline first.
no, I would agree. But for example, if we wanted to go down the road, there are a number of businesses, both restaurants and bars, that don't take credit cards, which allows them to potentially skim money that the town's missing their kickback from the state. So if we were to change licenses to require them to take credit cards, it would allow the town some additional income from what they would have to report to the state. If you're a cash business, we don't know what they're reporting. Most restaurants are 70%, 30%, so 70% credit cards, 30% cash. So if you were to require credit cards, it eliminates some skimming off the top that potentially the town could make a little more money.
There's a whole alternative argument on that about cash, keeping more actual cash in the hands of people in business than in the credit card companies.
I think the point is it's about more than whether we can charge $5 a year more for a liquor license. And having as you say, sort of a baseline that enables us all to be similarly conversant in how the rules work for all these things. I'd take that for myself because I feel like I get confused every time we do an outdoor entertainment license. We haven't talked about New Harbor plan. Yes, it is skinnied down pretty significantly, if I recall correctly, Mary Ann.
And we did the parking study,
Right.
the traffic study, I'm sorry.
The trash disposal rate structure. For me, I think the perfect time to really talk about that is when we reach the point in our capital budget where we're renovating the dump and really talk about all this stuff and, making sure that everybody is paying their fair share and that whoever is running the dump is treated appropriately and fairly as well. And if there are any others, pass them along. But to your point about it being long, Martha, we actually have, Mary Ann, between Mary Ann, Amy, and a lot of staff, a lot of these things are at the forefront of their minds too. So we're,
Some are actually in the process.
yeah, in a good way. In a good way. All right. I was really sad, item 10 regarding Kristen Bauman. I'm sorry that Kristen couldn't make it tonight. When she was on at our meeting several weeks ago and her Zoom wasn't working. I feel like I spent a lot of time talking about my feelings about what Kristen has done with that library and her staff has done with that library and the friends of the library have done, but Kristen is the leader and the driver. The thing that I have said more than once, but I'm happy to say it again, is the reimagining of the library as more than just a place, just in quotes, to take books out, but the extent to which it has become a vital community hub for everything from just checking out books to providing a place where people from all over the world can sit on the front lawn and still converse with their families, to a community fridge, to a place to host broadband seminars, to, you know, insert here. Our grandchildren go there, particularly in the wintertime, probably 3 times a week. And we're not unique in that regard. And to me, you know, everybody who was concerned that when Amazon got so big, I can still remember when Amazon was mostly booked. You know, and what does this mean for libraries? I think we found out what it means for libraries if you live on Block Island, and it's what it means is it's even better than it used to be. And I really thank Kristen for that.
Well, I want to add that, you know, under Kristen, our library received the five-star award from the National Library Association more times. Well, no other library in Rhode Island had gotten it at one point. Maybe that's changed, but certainly we've received it more often than any other library in the state. And I'm not sure many libraries have matched that, and that was really under her guidance, and it's tremendous. She has a tremendous friends group, but that's because she shows leadership. So I hope we're able to replace her, but you know, we all owe Kristen a tremendous debt of gratitude. It is our community center. So, you know, we're going to miss her.
Yeah. Anything else? Praising Kristen in absentia. If not, item 11, receive and act on recommendation from the North Light Commission for approval of bid for lantern repair and painting for the North Light. You have that attached by clerk base. Can I just make one point before we ask you to come up, Rob? In the bid form, it says lantern vent installation and door repair, and it says 1840, and it looks like, I believe the comma's in the right place, in the wrong place, excuse me. I don't know whether you can see that on your computers. I think it is. I don't know whether that's $18,400 or $1,840. Okay, so just Millie, when you if you see this, there's a 0 missing there. It's not a problem. I just was sort of, I don't want either the contractor or us not to have clarity on what that number is. Right, yeah. But I was trying to just, anyway, Rob, you want to come up? Do you need, do you?
It's 18.
I apologize.
It's 1,800.
Rob,
18.8.
we should double check this because the total 72,510 doesn't reflect it.
Right.
Here. So if you look at it, I think it's added in as, so that number there, 1840.
The amount, the total.
So 72,510 is the right
Yeah,
amount.
that's missing the 0.
No, it's not.
No, then that's 72,000 is wrong. I took,
And that it's 1840.
Yes.
So I'm just making sure that
I
the
don't-
72,000.
Did anybody else see that? I was just concerned me.
I didn't, but I did the quick math.
Yeah, right.
Like something, so I think if the 72.5 is right, that's what we're gonna vote.
Right.
I think that's what we'll vote.
That's right. Sounds right.
Okay.
Mary Ann?
yeah, so adding the numbers, you're correct. If it's 18,000, then the total of 72 is incorrect. If the 72 is correct, then that's an 1840.
Right.
And if you look at the memo that is included in this, with Robbie working with the contractor stated he can do the additional work for $15,000, which is the lower part of the lantern, and will save in mobilization costs and
Oh, right.
get it all
Yes, I
done in one
remember that.
scoop.
Right.
So the amount, the total bid is what's in the memo of 87,510.
Right.
And speaking with the finance director and what's been budgeted, there's funding available to get 87,510 done. And just for a point of clarification, this project will not start until the spring, is that correct? Yeah, so it's just so folks know, we're awarding the bid now, however, the work isn't being done until the spring.
Can we come out sometime and see them doing this work? I'd love to see it.
So just to be 100% clear, I know the total is correct. Lantern, vent, installation and door repair is 1,840, not 18,400.
Correct.
Okay.
So the correct amount is 87,510. Is that right, Marianne?
That's correct,
With the painting on the bottom.
correct.
But, is this the same, person who did the southeast one?
Yes.
Unbelievably good.
Yeah, he was the only one that bid on it.
No, we ended up hiring him at the end of the other contract. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to get him to do everything, so.
Right.
The work that's been done so far to date is, all the windows, all the trim's been repaired and painted. All the second floor windows are reglazed and, painted. So the wood trim is done.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna start on the lantern. We have some issues from 13 years ago we need to address, but I think after this we'll be in good shape.
I remember you showing that to me. Yeah.
Also, I'd like to introduce the council to the new chairman, Mark Allen.
All right, Mark. Thank you.
We did at our meeting, we voted and I worked with Amy on the figures on how, I think we're asking for an extra 5,000 for the town.
Which is in the facilities budget.
Which is in the budget. Yes, terrific. Would someone like to make a motion to award the bid for the upper lantern restoration and lower lantern painting at the North Lake to Abcor Restoration LLC for $87,510?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion
Thank
other
you.
than thank you? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The contract is awarded, bid is awarded.
So Marianne, and we probably covered off and I lose track of stuff. Because of the historic nature of the lighthouse, are we going after every grant there is to be able to get money for some of this work? I mean, just not this work, but in the future, do we go after dollars?
Yeah, well, I think we've done some preliminary work.
Okay,
But keep in mind, this is not on the National Historical Register.
okay.
Yes, it is.
I thought it wasn't on the national.
No, it's not a lien.
Yeah, that's,
landmark and belongs to town, so.
Yeah.
Could I explain something too, because there are council members?
Of course.
Tower restoration
Right.
project.
The microphone. Sorry.
The tower restoration project was 730,000. It only cost the town 150. So we've been to the well, between the North Lake Commission, the North Lake Association, State of Rhode Island, Department of Transportation, we came up with 580,000. So we've been to the well before. This I consider to be maintenance. And to go up and apply for these grants, you got to show you can maintain what you currently have. And
Good point.
before I resign, I'll lay it out on how the town, I think the town should proceed in doing the second floor. I think there's a possibility you might be eligible for a grant from the federal government that's only open for landmarks. I had been working on with Rick Greenwood from Historic Preservation as to whether the North Lake could be considered an national historic landmark. And at that time, the state's opinion was, yes, it has national significance, and it's just a matter of following the paper trail to get the designation. And then when the previous Public Works Director asked me about applying for a grant, I said, you want to make sure you get all your ducks in a row and have everything ready because the competition is very stiff. And for years, I said, the only reason we got the money I did is because we submitted Malcolm's photograph with the application. So that's a plus that we had. But the commission's worked long and hard, and we also discussed at our last meeting, we want to have a meeting with the council, the town manager, and the finance director to better assess the commission because it hasn't been reviewed in 50 years. And, I think it's a good start, but the future going forward, some things are gonna have to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Well, and I think you've got Malcolm's photograph and now you have that quarter. So you guys are in a good place.
Yes, ma'am.
In a stamp.
Indeed.
Well, I think it was a pin, not a stamp.
Thank you guys very much. And congratulations, Mark.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Item number 12, discuss and act on a request from Flowering Spade LLC 1033 Corneck Road to temporarily remove 2 stone pillars on the Hodge property to widen the entrance for construction vehicles and reinstall them to a width acceptable to the fire chief. You'll see a link to a letter from Scott Spear. I've actually just sort of for the record, as everyone knows, the town has an ownership interest in Hodge alongside others, the Nature Conservancy, the Land Trust, and I believe BIC. We would be basically, I have spoken with everybody who's who the other organizations around Hodge. I don't think anybody has a problem with this, with either aspects of this. I mean, I don't think they're talking about expanding the right of way. They're just talking about clearing it so that trucks can get down there. What we would be doing is our assent. Obviously, other owners have an assent, and there's a process for that. Are there any questions about this?
Yes.
Yes. That's what the letter says.
Well, I think all that and just get it documented before they move it. They haven't moved it yet.
No. They're asking permission to move it
Yeah, no.
for once. All right, can I have a motion to approve this? Is there a second?
Yep.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Discuss and act on item 13, discuss and act on update regarding Stampede Meadow property uses, 2 to 3 parking places, picnic tables, mode path.
So a couple of weeks ago, Sven and I walked around with Barbara McMullen and Turtle, reviewing the Stampede Meadow. And upon discussion and reviewing the property was the idea to put in 2 or 3 parking spots at the top of the entrance into the lot to make it usable for residents, which it's, I guess, the charter, Barbara stated wording that was to be used by residents, which right now it isn't. So to keep with that would be putting 3 parking spots at the very top, which would ultimately result in moving the current rocks back to create the 3 spots. That would be done by Turtle at no cost or minimal cost paid by the Land Trust. What was the other item?
We're gonna mow a trail
Oh, yeah.
down to the beach and enable everybody to be able to use the beach, access the beach.
Oh, I'm still back on home.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, Stampede Meadow.
That'd be shot system there.
And then the Land Trust, we also agreed it'd be nice for residents to be able to sit and enjoy lunch. So picnic tables would be purchased by the land trust and put there for people to enjoy the view. That would again be at their cost. They are going to be discussing these same topics on their Thursday meeting. And wanted to get kind of alignment from the town that this made sense.
So my only question is, if this is like a town, this is, town ownership. Do we have to bid this out as to who's gonna be doing the landscaping or?
So the town wouldn't be paying wouldn't be the contract of the town. And I believe that's why I hesitated. Turtle originally said doing it for free. I don't know what they talked about after the fact, but. And we did talk about putting gravel, but we said, let's see how the fall goes before we did anything if the parking spots needed gravel.
Is there anything that actually has to be cut to get to the shore?
A little bit of
That's
a little bit of a pathway down. Right now, the path goes really onto the flippy lot.
Well, my question was basically, do we need CRMC?
They're going to evaluate that and find out exactly where that is, but I think CRMC will need to be involved anyway. I mean, and land trust is good planning to do that. Because it's even close to the parking spaces and the pathway and the park benches are within that barrier.
Because even if there are answers, we don't need to be involved.
Nope.
We gotta play by the regular.
Yep. Agreed.
What do
Any
you
other
need from
questions?
us, guys? I think this is a great idea. I
Do we need to vote?
Technically, just to be very clear, Neil and I are on this sort of little subgroup so that we can vet ideas, bring them to the council, because the council obviously in Bolly's Point owns the land. The council is responsible for the developed piece. Land trust is responsible for the recreational and non-developed piece. The land trust also needs to vote on it. So I think actually it would be a good idea if
think we should vote.
vote on it. So you want to make a
So I would make the motion that the town approves MP Meadow to have 3 parking spots, picnic tables, and a path mode from the top of the property down to the water, funded by the land trust.
second.
Is there any discussion? Terrific idea, guys. Thank you for your work. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. All right, next is discuss and act to accept the recommendation of the town manager and award the bid for 2023 construction of a custom cape and duplex on the Thomas property. Hot dog.
So Mike Shea's going to run with this. He provided the memo and worked with the facilities director who is out of
It doesn't
town.
look like he's running.
He will be, so trust me.
Now, Mike Shea, Director. Facilities Manager Tom Rism did all the legwork pretty much on this project, on the bidding process here, and I am standing in for him as he is away. There were 2 bids received for the construction of the 2 buildings, one being a Cape-style duplex where the existing home stands, and a ranch-style duplex home to the east on the Thomas property. Nicholas J. Batty Construction put in a bid of $1,798,440,000. And Connecticut Valley Homes put in a bid of $1,221,226. Is our recommendation to award the bid to Connecticut Valley.
Are there
So I
any-
know,
Go ahead.
yeah, so I know Tom's not here, so you might not know the ins and outs of it. So Connecticut Valley Homes is from off island.
Correct.
Nicholas Batty on island.
Yes.
And we only got 1 bid from on island contractors for this. Is that normal? Yeah,
Connecticut Valley Homes has
More than you
done
might expect.
few projects out here.
okay.
They're familiar with the island.
And then Mary Ann, from a budget standpoint, is it 1.2 is what was approved?
So what we had just south of 800,000 left from the previous, from the Thomas property, which was also done by Connecticut Valley. And the voters authorized up to another $1 million. So we have just slightly less than $1.8 million to get this project done.
Any other questions?
Very exciting.
I would make a motion to award this contract to Connecticut Valley Homes for a bid of 1.221226 million.
Second.
We have some things.
Sure, add away.
They, they're the lowest bidder, but they're also, have a good track record. Town. They are, showing themselves to be responsible and responsible.
Is there a second?
Actually, before we go there, so I don't know if we've done this in the past, but I'm assuming we would want this for next year. Do we ever write the contracts that if they're not done by a certain date, there's a discounted rate or something that gets the town?
If this wasn't Block Island, I would entertain something. There's too many variables and and what you usually do, there's penalties and stuff like that that I've seen on the mainland.
Right, but not,
But, they have to get them over here. They have to deal with the ferry and you don't know what weather conditions could be. There's too many variables. As Martha said, Connecticut Valley did, the town is probably the home I'm currently in. So they're familiar with Block Island, they're familiar with the work. It is a modular home, so a lot of the building construction will be done offsite and then it'll be just a matter of shipping it over.
So in the letter, you said May of 24 seems to be where you think it will land?
Yes. Don't be held to that.
No, and you said that, you say that also. in-
Aggressive, though.
Yeah,
Yes, if everything goes smoothly, yes, that is possible. May of 24.
Thank you, Mike.
great,
Um,
thank you.
We have a motion that's been made and second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Bye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Off we go.
Congratulations.
Hot dog. Amazing.
It's right.
Item number 15, discuss an act to.
and
accept
Mary
the
Ann,
rec-
be ready for every meeting. Did we start? Did we start? Did we start?
Item number 15, discuss an act to accept the recommendation from the Public Works Director to award the bid for building official services to Four Leaf Inc.
Michael Shea, Director.
Hello, Mike.
The position of building official was advertised. We got 5 applicants during that advertising. Three of them were eliminated fairly quickly, which left us with the 2. One applicant was unable to work the minimum amount of hours for the position. And it is my recommendation that we continue with Four Leaf and Chuck Phelps in the position of building official.
Are there
Okay,
any-
so, yeah,
Okay.
no, so this was the hot button at the town meeting, correct? So, we need to kick the tires on this one. So, where did we land on the budget for this? It doesn't list how much we're spending. I know we budgeted amount for it. If I remember the concerns correctly, it was they weren't here enough. We were gonna tweak that for the remaining part of the contract, the existing contract. I don't know where that went. It doesn't have a dollar amount in here. And then also, based on the feedback from many people at the town meeting or the finance meeting, unable to fulfill minimum number of hours. Well, it seems odd because they weren't doing full-time hours. So why, can you explain what that meant?
Yes, they actually were filling those hours, not necessarily right here on the island. They're available all the time. The minimum hours that we advertised for were 24 hours a week,
Okay.
which is the case right now, with one of those days being here on the island. When the application was out, I spoke to all the applicants, and that was one of the issues that come up. We're hearing that from contractors that they want more time, right? And that is something that will be addressed.
So you, go ahead, Molly.
Well, I was gonna say the issue I have has been coming from historic district. That this person that we currently have has apparently, and I have not heard this with my own ears, but apparently said that.
This is not coming from the historic district. This may be coming from a member of historic district.
This is coming from people who've attended historic district meetings, that this person has said it's not his job to support HDC decisions. So I have a problem with that,
Mhm.
because the way a lot of our historic district things are written, it's the building official becomes the ultimate enforcer. But if our building official has said that they won't be the enforcer, that's a problem, I think.
Now, I had heard a lot of things out in public also.
That's,
That-
this is hearsay.
That were become very untrue. As far as that, if I'm not mistaken, is that a zoning enforcement?
Okay. I believe you.
And now we have one person that oversees both those departments.
Yes.
And now we have one person that oversees both those departments.
That's
Correct.
That's what, the takeaway for me, Mike, is, you and I have talked about this, is, I think the promise of having a good and competent DPW director is that you hear from contractors about what their rough spots are, and you don't have it erupt at a financial town meeting. It was perfectly appropriate. The questions were good, but it had festered for a long time, clearly. The only question I had is has the feedback grown more positive since we had the feedback at the financial town meeting? Are things getting better than we heard?
To be honest, I have not heard a word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
And
good,
if
bad,
I-
and different.
And if I remember, it was more of the reaction of someone that all of a sudden they were seeing the $108,000. And, I'm not sure everyone understands, they back into that. A company is taking some of that, they're paying an employee salary and whatever. So there is markup on it. I just want to make sure. So are we budgeting 108 again for that? And are we getting 2 days or as needed on island?
That is the intention, yes. As far as more on that.
And the contract will be written that it's, because I think this is where you get into the nuance. 1 day a week, sounds like didn't work. We'll hear it again when they find out we just approved to renew this contract. And I just want to make sure we're 100% clear on what the vendor is going to be providing.
What I did find in the interviews is that it didn't work for a very small number of contractors of being on island. Tended to be the more tech savvy builders.
Mhm.
Had no issues. There's so much is done online now.
Yeah, I mean, I did all myself online. It's super easy.
There are some that
Don't go online.
Yeah.
And they wanted it to be done for them.
Right.
Okay.
It's change.
Yes.
Can I ask
Yeah.
quick question? So to be very direct, today we received a letter regarding a former building official that the town had and wondering why we weren't hiring that person. And I think that, Millie, you got that, and also under the council members. And I just want it very clear, because there have been a whole lot of drama and a whole lot of rumors. That I said rumors, trust me.
Yes.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Drama and rumors that person, whether they applied or not, was considered appropriately, and a proper decision was made. and
Absolutely.
we're cutting out the rumors.
Absolutely, and multiple scenarios were devised to try and come up to a solution of filling that position.
Thank you.
All over the place, which involved multiple employees,
Yes.
and they
Thank
did not pan out to the benefit of the town.
The town, right, and I appreciate it. It's been 3 years of this gurgling, and I'm trying to help you nip it, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Wait,
much. Mike.
Can I ask a quick question? So in your letter, you said the recommendation is to offer the position to Four Leaf and Chuck Phelps to continue in his capacity as building officials. So, but are we contracting with the person or the company?
Through the company,
Through the
Or-
company?
yeah.
So
But
like.
he is to stay on.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the intention is that we would have the same person continuing on. They wouldn't just suddenly send us somebody new.
correct. That's
Okay.
not the intent.
Great, thank you.
Uh,
Thank you, Mike.
Can I have a motion to award the bid for building official services to Four Leaf Inc.? Second? Is there a second? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your work on that. 16, I don't know how we loop Amy Land into this, but or if we need to, because she actually explained this at our last meeting. This is to ratify the extension of the date, the tax due date grace period on property tax payments to September 30th, 2023. You guys recall, and just to bring the public back up to speed. There were a number of intervening technical variables that occurred that led to us, the town being late with its tax bills. Marianne and Amy have come up with a provision that would extend the grace period on first quarter property tax payments to September 30th. Usually it's August 31st, isn't it? Are there any questions about this, Marianne or Amy could, I don't know whether Amy is.
No,
hear us,
as you're,
but-
you're correct. We spoke about this
Yeah.
at the last meeting, and because it's established at the financial town meeting, the grace period and stuff like that, administratively, we could not just
Right.
right, extend that. So that's why we're bringing this to the council retroactive, so that it can be September 30th, 2020.
Are there any other questions? Can I have a motion to extend the tax due date grace period on property tax payments to September 30th, 2023?
sorry, so moved.
Second,
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We actually get to make an appointment tonight. We've had a few of those in a row. Let's keep it up. John Spear has graciously agreed to continue to serve in his role as on the Police Advisory Commission, and we would be appointing. We would appoint him to a term expiring December 2028. Hot dog. Can I have a motion to that effect, please? Is there a second?
second.
All those in favor of John Spear's appointment indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. We have vacancies, Water District, Sewer District. We talked about those. Please, new voices, fresh faces are always welcome here in the town of New Shoreham. Is there a motion to adjourn? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. We are adjourned. Oh, yeah, thank you.
No,
Good night, Dave.
It may be worth to get a couple copies.
Yeah.
What?